Hey y'all, how you doing? It's your girl Emma D here, thinking thoughts about things. And today I'm thinking about fire things. So many fires. I am currently sitting in a bubble of fire everywhere around me. Of course, Lahaina, my heart bleeds for Hawaii. Many of you know I was born there, so this is catastrophic. Maui specifically was not an island I spent a significant amount of time on, but I send my heart out. I also find it suspicious. And there's been a lot of conspiracy theories, and we over here, I'm a decrypted. We love a good conspiracy theory, right? We love it. We want to talk about it. Especially one that's like maybe attempting to burn my house down and burn my people out. So there's been some fun ones, right? There's like the energy weapons, directed energy weapons, and videos coming out of Hawaii are interesting, showing like melted vehicles, and certain colors seem to fare better than others, which is weird and not really natural in the fire world, but alright. So being me, I want to go to a source that we're going to call reputable, even though my video will probably get kicked off anyways, but here we go. So I went to the Government Accountability Office, and we are going to look at the Science and Tech Spotlight of Directed Energy Weapons, published May 25th of this year, 2023. So here we go. Here are their fast facts in regards to directed energy weapons, such as lasers, which use energy fired at the speed of light. These weapons can produce force that ranges from deterrent to damaging to destructive. Many countries, including the U.S., are researching their use. Lovely, wonderful. Because they use energy instead of bullets or missiles, directed energy weapons could be less expensive per shot and have virtually unlimited firing power. That's great, isn't it? However, the long-term health effects of these weapons are unclear. They also generally have a shorter range than conventional weapons, and weather conditions, such as fogs and storms, can make certain directed energy weapons less effective. Thank you, weather. All right. Oh, here are some lovely pictures of, links in the description so you can look at all of this fun stuff. Why it matters. There's a surge in interest in directed energy weapons from several nations, including the U.S., primarily for counter-drone missions. These weapons use electromagnetic energy to cause effects ranging from deterrence to destruction. They offer capabilities that conventional weapons may not, but challenges have so far prevented widespread operational use. The technology of DEWs, Directed Energy Weapons, DEW, use concentrated electromagnetic energy to combat enemy forces and assets. These weapons include high-energy lasers and other high-powered electromagnetics, such as millimeter wave and high-powered microwave weapons. Unlike weapons that fire bullets or missiles, DEWs can respond to a threat in different ways. For example, they can temporarily degrade electronics on a drone or physically destroy it. See our 2022 Spotlight for more information. Okay. How does it work? Each type of DEW uses a different region of the electromagnetic spectrum. This spectrum describes all of the kinds of light, including those the human eye cannot see, which is most of them, as classified accordingly by wavelength. Different types of electromagnetic energy have different properties. For example, the wavelength affected that direct energy can penetrate, such as metal or human skin. So, what frequency it travels at, so be it radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, right? Like very, very small amount of things we see, but tons and tons of things. And it's, okay, so these weapons are using this fun stuff. It's, okay. Oh, there's a fun graph. Yeah. All right. All DEWs emit energy at the speed of light and are often discussed in terms of their power output, the amount of electromagnetic energy transferred over time. While DEWs use electromagnetic energy similar to everyday items such as household microwaves, their power output is vastly higher, as described below. High-energy lasers produce a very narrow beam of light, usually in the infrared to visible region, and are typically used at one target at a time. This beam can be pulsed or continuous, generating a power output of at least 1 kilowatt. This output is 200,000 times greater than a typical laser pointer and is capable of melting steel. Remember we're seeing some melted steel. Okay. Millimeter wave weapons have wavelengths between 1 and 10 millimeters and generate more than 1 kilowatt of power. Millimeter wave weapons have a larger beam size than high energy lasers and therefore can affect multiple targets at once. All right. Bigger stretch. Okay. High-power microwave weapons produce microwaves. Such have longer wavelengths than higher energy lasers than millimeter wave weapons. These weapons can produce more than 100 megawatts of power, which is nearly 150,000 times more powerful than the average household microwave. Like millimeter wave weapons, they can also affect multiple targets because of their large laser beam size. Each DEW can produce a range of effects from non-lethal to lethal, depending on factors such as time on target, distance to the target, and even parts of the target on which the DEW is focused. The DEW can use this range of effects to graduate responses to threat. Response could start with temporarily preventing use of an asset or its access to an area and increase to destruction of the asset if necessary. DEWs can deny entrance to an area or prevent enemy forces or assets from functioning within an area. DEWs used for denial do not cause long-term damage to targets, and when enemy forces or assets leave the area, they typically regain function or the effect is mitigated. For example, the Department of Defense's active denial system uses millimeter waves that interact with the water and fat molecules in a person's skin to create a heating sensation. During testing, the discomfort persuaded individuals to move away from the area. DEWs can also degrade the efficacy of an enemy's asset. For example, high-energy lasers can temporarily overwhelm a person or the sensor's ability to see or sense by emitting a glare called dazzling. Dazzling can act as a non-verbal warning before resorting to increased force. Dazzle you, my darling. If a greater amount of force is required, DEWs can also damage or destroy enemy targets. To do this, a high-energy laser can emit electromagnetic energy with a wavelength the target material absorbs most effectively, melting the material. The laser could focus on a sensor and damage a drone, or focus on a fuel tank or battery and destroy it. So, and it goes on to tell us more, but I think that it tells us enough about the practical application of what they're working with over here. So the people that were reporting like that burning inside their skin that jumped into the water, that makes sense if there was something like a microwave, because like they like to put heavy metals in our bodies through different persuasive methods, and then a weapon that targets metals, that'd be, I don't know, that's weird, right? That couldn't be a thing. Our country wouldn't do that. But anyway, so what interests me about this is the frequency, and I'm going to add this little chart back again if I haven't inserted it already. But the point is, there's been a lot of talk about color, right? Because the color blue has seemed to fare much better than other colors, and that would make sense with something like this, based on this diagram that they're showing, which shows the color of the high energy laser being emitted in a yellow-orange hue, which would be counteracted, opposite side of the wheel, by blue. So if in fact they are, because they said specifically that this particular type of high energy weapon would be within the visible light spectrum. So we know enough about the properties of our light spectrum to understand how colors are absorbed. Right, blue. So that one was kind of interesting. So I don't know. But there were like a lot of blue umbrellas, some blue shirts, like all this blue stuff. And then that of course took me down that spiral, because blue, in regards to what we're discussing here, like frequencies and where it sits, it happens to be 6.66 hertz. So I think that, there's some other reasons that number like brought me some entertainment value, and I wanted to think about it for a second, because like I think we all know where that's popular from, right? Like it's the 6.66666 is the color. It's the frequency of the color that is safe from the things, which I'm like, Bible time, because I like a good story, and I had to Google around and like, remind me again what all of the things were being said about the number of the beast, because they mark it and I tell you about it, and I read through all of them, and then this one, this one entertained me because I think there's some truth in all of it. Sorry about my Bible story, but we're doing it. So, what do we got? Revelations 15:2. And I saw, as it were a sea of glass, mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of the glass, having the harps of God. Okay. So follow me down the crazy train for a minute, right? Okay. A name. My personal philosophy is that words mean nothing to the universe. There isn't a name, because that would mean it would literally have to be like a sound that everyone agreed on was the sound, and that's not a universal truth. So the name, victorious over the name of the number of the name. Okay, the name of the beast, right? But so if the name is not in fact a word, it would be a universal truth, which could be a color, right? Like perhaps the mark of the beast, that's the frequency of what is the color that saves us through all this crazy nonsense. I don't know. I know that's kind of out there in the left field, but I mean, they started it, because why is the blue stuff surviving? And like, I don't know, it's just kind of seems a little bit odd to me, because like, there's some other fun things that play into that, but maybe that little like tidbit all plays back into they were telling us to like go ahead and just lean into it, because if we overcome the name of the beast, then we get the mark of salvation. And it seems that the Oprah has a blue roof. I mean, I saw the pictures too. So I don't know, man. Like, hey, we live in the Matrix. They're playing roles, so we're just over here trying to figure it out, right? Like trying to survive. So I'm just gonna sit here and sip my tea, and yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all. Just got this one playing through my head. So before we get out of here, let's all remember that apparently the way to survive this one is just to sit and watch and tell ourselves. I